Are you nervous about your child's very first early intervention session? Well, don't worry, that is exactly what I'm here for today. I'm going to be walking you through some practical tips and steps in order to prepare for your child's very first early intervention session, so that way you feel confident and ready when that therapist comes into your home for the very first time. Hi everybody, my name is Ashley, also known as Ashley OT. I am a pediatric occupational therapist, and on this channel I provide parents and therapists with different tips and strategies all about child development and sensory processing, fun activities, and autism, and all these things to really help a child thrive and make progress. So if that sounds like a topic that you're interested in learning more about, make sure you subscribe. But without further ado, let's get into the 7 practical tips that you should implement to prepare. So tip number 1 is to gather essential documents and information. So you may want to track down your child's medical records, their medical history. You may want to track down important documents that talks about any precautions or any allergies that the therapist needs to be aware of, any medications that your child may be currently taking that you feel is important to share with your therapist, any observations or concerns, behaviors, things that you are concerned about. Make sure you write those things out as well, so that way when the therapist comes to your home for the very first time, you have this information ready to share with them. Now, on some occasions, the therapist who is coming to your home to actually do the actual therapy with your child may be the same therapist that actually evaluated your child. And if that's the case, that therapist may already have some of this information ready to go. But if the therapist that is going to be doing the ongoing therapy, like the weekly therapy with your child, is different from the person who actually evaluated your child, I would have all this information prepared anyway, because just because you've already shared this information with the evaluating therapist, it's important to also reshare this information with the ongoing therapist as well. Tip number 2 is to prepare your questions ahead of time. So think about why it is that your child is in the early intervention program in the first place, right? What concerns do you have? What questions are you not sure about? It could be questions related to your child specifically, so certain behaviors that you see your child exhibiting, certain skills that you think your child should be doing but they're not, or it can even be questions about the early intervention process altogether. So make sure you prepare by writing down questions or journaling things that you've noticed over the week or over the months, and really be prepared to share those questions with the therapist that first session. Tip number 3 is to talk to your child or prepare your child, especially if they are a child that can understand and they have good, like what they call receptive language, where they understand, right? Now, children who are in early intervention may not understand what's going on, right? They may just realize there's a stranger in my house, and some children may latch onto them and be very social and be ready to play with them right away. Other children may be very, very, very timid and have stranger anxiety and separation anxiety. But if you can prepare your child even by, let's say, just putting it on the calendar ahead of time, like Mrs. Ashley is going to be coming to see you tomorrow, or in a few days we're going to meet a new friend. Even something as simple as that can kind of reduce that anxiety that your child may be feeling from having a stranger in their home, especially a stranger that is going to be playing with them and kind of getting to know you guys over time. So just kind of setting that expectation. You can even read books about meeting new people or watch fun cartoons about it or fun shows that they enjoy. Just try to prepare them if possible, and if you feel like they can truly get some type of understanding to it. And to go along with that, tip number 4 is to have a comfort item available for your child. Now, this is a brand new experience for all of you, for you, the child, and the therapist, right? So all of you are getting to know each other, and during this very first session, it can be a little bit of awkwardness. There may be some nervousness on all parties, right? So by having a comfort item for your child, maybe it's the favorite stuffed animal or blanket or a favorite toy, something that is really going to help them kind of be more calm and regulated during this first session is going to help you all. And don't forget about yourself too, right? In the morning time, maybe you want to say a prayer, maybe you want to have a favorite cup of tea, or just something calming to help you prepare for this very first session. Tip number 5 is to be open and be honest with your therapist. Now, a lot of parents may feel like parent guilt or may question themselves, like, did I do something wrong? Is this my fault? And typically, no. The answer is no. Typically, it's not your fault. Typically, you didn't do anything wrong, right? So you want to be open and honest with your therapist about everything that's going on with your child. And sometimes this even means open and honest about family dynamics and what's going on in the home, because therapists are going to be working with your child. They're going to be in your home. And if there are some things going on that you feel like could have an impact on your child's progress because of the family situation or what's going on within the family, or let's say, for example, you as the mom or you as the dad, like you're really on board with early intervention and getting your child the therapy that they need, but the other parent doesn't really buy into it as much. That is very helpful information for the therapist to know, so that the therapist knows how to tread lightly, right? When they come to providing these recommendations and suggestions and all of that. So be sure just to be open and honest about whatever is going on with your child. I mean, you don't have to get super personal and tell the therapist all your business, right? It's not a therapy session for you per se. But if there's any information that could be helpful when it comes to your child, please let the therapist know. Now, tip number 6 could be a little bit easier said than done, but stay positive and don't self-judge, right? So a lot of times you may self-judge, right? You may think about like, oh my gosh, am I a bad parent? Oh my gosh, look at my house, it's a mess. Oh my gosh, like what are they gonna think about my child? Like, trust me, as therapists, we have seen it all, right? And so we are coming into your home. This is your environment. And so however it is that is natural for you and your child to live, like that is how you and your child live. The therapist is coming in to support you all and meet you where you are at. And then once they build a relationship with you, then they can slowly start to recommend different strategies or suggestions, or maybe even suggest some different changes in the environment that is going to help your child. But come into that first session with a positive mindset, knowing that nobody is coming in to judge you. We're only coming in to help you. And tip number 7 is to ask about expectations. So ask the therapist that's coming into your home, what is their session going to look like, right? How much parent involvement is expected? How long are the sessions going to be? Are the sessions always going to take place in your home? Ask about the best way to communicate with the therapist. Should you call them? Should you text them? Should you shoot them an email? When is the best time to contact them? And just get an understanding of those communication boundaries on both sides, right? So guys, remember, preparing for your child's very first early intervention session does not have to be daunting. It does not have to be overwhelming. I completely understand that it is a brand new experience for you and a brand new experience for your child, but applaud yourself in just knowing that you have taken the very first proper steps into getting your child the help that they need. And because your child is in the early intervention program, that means that they have a lot of room to make progress at such an early age. So applaud yourself for doing that, and just be open and just have that positive mindset during your child's first session. Now, if you're watching this and you are somebody who hasn't quite started the early intervention process just yet, but you're interested in learning more about it, I have a whole completely separate video all about early intervention for babies and toddlers. So be sure to check out that video. I highly recommend it, as I go into a lot more detail about early intervention in general. And also, if you found this video to be helpful and you found these tips to be helpful, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel so that I can continue providing this free content and free education for parents. All right, guys, until the next time, bye.